Hello my dear friends, today I'm going to fly with you the Tecnam at Birrfeld airdrome, and of course we were going to do simultaneously the runway 26 and 08 flying down from the sector east. This video is taken in two different days in order to capture both the runways 26 and 08. The Birrfeld airdrome has a particularity which is actually not something special. Actually, the approach to these airports are from three sectors, basically the west, the north and the south. Normally I try to approach with the Tecnam from the sector west and secondly with the second north. The sector south is mostly not active, particularly when there is gliding operations there. So you should normally use the sector west or sector north. The particularity of the sector west is that you need to approach at the 4,000 feet, and then you have 3 nautical miles till you go overhead, and then you start stacking down from till 2,500 feet, where you enter the downwind for landing at the runway 26 or 08. There is no any particular element, but you need to know that this particularity if you would like to approach this airport without a problem. And in this case, now we will go on approaching first the runway 26. This moment, after stacking somehow from a higher altitude, I'm starting to approach the downwind on runway 26. As you see, I'm ready with my flaps. The gear is down, the props are forward, and then of course the carburetor head is forward, and on the right side you see the river. That's your reference to turn to the base. And of course with the Tecnam it is difficult to have the view of the runway 26 from this point of view, so you need to lean forward in order to manage this. And then in this case I am on the base for runway 26, and that date it was a little bit crosswind, but not any particularities, because you need to know that with twin engine is much more easier to handle crosswinds. So now I'm on the final. You see the highway downwards, and this day we had a little bit crosswind on the right side, so I had to proceed with appropriate corrections and till I go down to the runway for the landing, and slowly keep the speed, which is actually the blue line, and as you approach the threshold you are starting to line up. And this is actually the landing for the runway 26. And now we are approaching for the runway 08. As you see, we are coming down from the sector west, and the airport is in front of you. In this case, as you see, I just took the gear down, and this is the case that I told you, because if you have the gear down with the takeoff flaps, there is a good approach speed to go down from the 4,000 to 2,500 feet, which was our case today. And in this case, it's also very important that you don't put the motors in the idle, and this is the case from any kind of motor. So in order to keep the motor warm, I just keep a little bit the manifold pressure a little bit higher. So in this case I am on the left, I start left turns, and in my case there was nobody at the downwind, because I came somehow late in the afternoon, and then we are ready to take the downwind for the runway 08. As you see, the approach is completely different, and you need to keep the references and in order to enter the base. And in this case I just put the full flaps, check the gear is down, the props are forward, and of course my reference on the ground are the right ones in order to proceed to the finals. And this is now I am on the base, and I just turn left for finals on the runway 08. Everything is checked, that I'm okay, and then in this case it is approach as it should be. So that was the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed the video that I did, and then in case you liked it, press like. if possible subscribe, and this will give me the opportunity to come back to you.